Yeah, but TJ always like only a fifth of a second separated these teams. I'm like, I doubt it. I just doubt
You're not
it.
telling me seven
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. We are back with another recap of the challenge, all not the challenge all stars, okay, of the challenge 38 Ride or Dies. This is episode 12, and this episode had a lot going on. So let's jump right into it. So we are coming back from the Nerissa Amber elimination, where Amber won. Nerissa was eliminated from the competition, at least the competition that the other competitors know about. And so when we get back in the house, Chauncey's happy to see Amber. His girl is back. Um, I think I think generally everybody, not the other team, but Fessy's team is really happy about that because Nerissa was a really strong player, and the other team is strong. I believe is strong as well, but I think they consider Nerissa like one of the top girls, and so they're happy to take her out. Um, but I'm sad to see Nerissa go. But Amber is and Chauncey are happy to be back in the house together. We also see Johnny and Nani talking, and Johnny and Nani are just again solidifying their ride or die relationship, talking about how Johnny's saying how he's so proud of Nani. She's made it like really far in the competition. And he also does mention he doesn't know how in his confessional, he's like, he wants to be able to bring Nani as far as he can, but they're on different teams right now.
I rolled my eyes. I was like, Nani was gonna go for it regardless. She really didn't do anything to make the whole. I'm proud of how far you made it. I was like, were we even doubting that she wasn't gonna make it to the final?
Yeah, Nani generally always make it to a final.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what did she really do? Like y'all was literally protected the whole time. Like there was no work that she put in. Like now, if
Yeah.
it was like Olivia or Amber, then I could see all the work you put in. But Nani worked? I don't
Nani
see it.
stupid. A little couple scenes of the players contacting their loved ones, and we get to see Nelson on his call with Corey. And Corey's on there, and Corey is very surprised when Nelson tells him that him and Fessy are working together.
Corey
And
was us.
He said, "What?"
Corey was us. He's like, why did
Yeah,
you take the chance to get rid of him?
yeah. Corey's like, "You working with the enemy?" And I was like, "That's what I said, Corey." Corey tells him, "Whatever you doing, just make sure you try to your best to make it to the end, and get this money because that's what you're there for."
In the midst of everybody having a conversation, Fessy and Mariah do also have a conversation where Fessy mentions if Mariah is going to basically help him win the guys elimination day. And this is where Fessy once again gaslights Mariah and by saying that basically he was like, I want you to help me with the elimination or win the challenge. And she was like, but you didn't do the same thing for me when last
Yeah,
week it was women's elimination. He was like, well, you didn't ask me to.
exactly. Like he is, like he something's wrong. So basically, with the challenge, they all have to hold on to um 6 players because it's 6 players on the underdogs team. The other team have to have 2 people not hanging from the bars, and they just have to swim towards at the end of the challenge. So 6 of the players are hanging on to these bars that are suspended from the helicopter. As they fly them over the lake, there are different squares that are worth different points. First square is 50 points, second square is 70 points, and then the last square is 100 points. And so they have to let 2 players each drop into each square. And so you got to time it right so that you drop in the square, and then you collect the points. At the end, once your last players have dropped and fallen and got the points or missed the points, then your whole team has to swim to the platform. And once your whole team touches the platform, then your time stops. The team with the most amount of points and the shortest time wins. The Fancy teams goes first. And it was pretty straightforward. They got all the targets. They 2 dropped. I think it was Tori and Olivia. They dropped first. They got the 50.
Olivia was on the platform.
Was she? Okay. Who was with Tori?
Also, let's talk about that real quick. So one, Nelson grabbed the bars the wrong way, so he was in the air spinning literally. And then Olivia made the point to mention that they will put their weakest swimmers on the platform, yet they decided to put Nelson in the air, and they considered
they put the weakest swimmers,
yeah, on the platform, which was Olivia and Anissa. Casey and Tori dropped first. Then it was Bananas and Fessy. Then Nelson and Chauncey did the last leg, getting them the 100 points.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the girls drop first and they get the 50 points. And then we have the two boys go next and they get the 70 points. And then the last two boys, Nelson and Chauncey, drop and get the 100 points. They are closer to the target platform because they are the weaker swimmers. That's what Chauncey says. So, because Nelson and Chauncey are, I guess, not as strong as the other boys. And so they get to the platform and everybody starts swimming. Everybody starts swimming once the last person lands, and then they go towards the platform. But because the girls are so far out, they took the longest to get back. Olivia and Tori took the longest back. Yes, because they were so far away. So they get to the platform and their time stops. And they think they got a really good time. They probably did get a really good time. And so they're feeling like super confident. They're like chest puffed up. They pat themselves on the back.
We won already.
Yeah,
we already know who we thought gets elimination.
Yeah, they basically planning what they're gonna have for dinner, who they put in, interrogation to the people, to the losers. They're very confident. And so they're like real loud, and then they like look at, then they mentioned, I think it was Fessy or someone mentioned like look at them, they don't even like they looking scared basically. So now it's Team Underdog's turn to go, and Fessy mentions that it doesn't even matter if they get it doesn't even matter if they get all the targets. What matters is the if they get all the targets. No, sorry. If they do not hit a target,
if they miss one, they automatically lose.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how fast they go, because if they miss target, we're gonna win anyway. So it's over. We just
premature, because it's like, but those targets apparently didn't like. It's like one was bigger, smaller. They was smaller in sizes, but it looks like no matter what, people were going to get in there regardless. Before the challenge, Devin gives the best pep talk to his team, where they coined the phrase "Team Underdog." And this is the Devin I like to see. I like to see he's like, okay, y'all, we need to get it together. They think we're weaklings when we're not. We are a strong six, and we are about to, kill it in this challenge, which gave them the motivation, I think, to actually win.
Yeah.
But yeah, Team Underdogs does get all their points, and they show teamwork. Jordan, I was surprised because the way Jordan was hanging on there, I was like, they trying to set up my guy, because I didn't think he was going to hold it, but he held on. Got his 100 points.
Hold on. Jordan is Jordan, okay?
I knew he was, but at the same time, like, he was the only one hanging on like this. So, that could be tiring. Like, if he didn't drop right, it could have, it could have just been bad. But Jordan and Horacio jump into their 100 points. They get it. Everybody's looking confused because Jordan is swimming backwards. And I
thought that was Horacio that swam backwards.
No, Horacio was on the platform.
Okay.
So we see Jordan. He's like, I'm the fastest swimmer. I'm a good swimmer, so I can afford to. That's the confidence I like in Jordan, because he's like, I can afford to go back and help out my team. We got this. So they end up all getting on the board, and at the end, Team Underdog wins by 2 seconds.
Yes. Team Underdog wins. I was so happy. I didn't understand the Fessy team. The other team, they were shaking their heads
cracked.
Like, face cracked. They were shaking their head like, I was like, what is
After basically they win, everybody goes back to the house. This is where the pre-interrogation conversations happen. Nelson basically was like, he saw this coming. This is what he didn't want to happen. And he wanted to help the slow swimmers, but he couldn't, because he felt like he's supposed to be like the captain. He was supposed to be the one that steps up. Nelson, and then
You feel like he was the captain?
He felt like he should have been the captain or like stepped up in the whole, like he should have been like the leader basically
Mm.
and really step up in this challenge. But in my head, I'm like, but you're not a strong swimmer, so how would you
Yeah, I
do
don't know.
this?
That's why
What
I
fun?
say I don't understand why he felt like that. Challenge. Like like because he's not the strongest swimmer. So why did you feel like you should have been the one to go back? If anything, I feel like maybe Fessy, if somebody going back, Fessy or Johnny Banana, somebody like that, Nelson's not as strong a swimmer as them.
Yeah, so basically Nelson and Fessy are still talking, and basically they kind of see the writing on the wall that they most likely will be the votes, and they kind of don't want history to repeat itself and don't go against each other because they mended bridges and they're besties in IRL. So yeah.
Yeah. And then we get a conversation with Johnny Bananas and Chauncey, and they decide that, if it comes down to it, they're gonna save each other. Because
Hit the right in the wall.
yeah, because Nelson and Fessy are going to save each other, so we need to have each other back, which is definitely smart. This is what happens when you got a veteran to know how to play the game and know what to do. And so yeah, so they decide they're going to save each other if it comes down to the draw. And one of the other two goes in directly. So let's go into the interrogation conversations. In the interrogation conversations, Devin mentions that they need to, it's time to go for a big player because we keep losing. It's time to go for a big player, and I'm trying to start Operation Save Chauncey because Chauncey, exactly, Chauncey is a rookie. They don't consider him as strong as like Fessy. But so Amber is happy with that. Amber says, this is gaining points with her with Devin. I was like, don't be too comfortable. He ain't doing it.
Again, I don't understand what Amber don't understand that they would never be on your
Yeah, I'm gonna
team.
say
But
he's to save Chauncey. I mean, he's to save Chauncey, but it's not for like to gain favor. I mean, he says it will help me gain favor with Amber, but he would have did it whether Amber liked it or not. You know what I mean? If it wasn't Chauncey, the ideal situation for them is to have Fessy and Nelson go against each other because Nani, of course, wants to save Bananas and Mariah wants to save Fessy. She said she ain't never gonna save. I'm sorry, she's never gonna say Fessy's name. So when when the male competitors come in, it's the same song and dance as it always is. Like, I'm not saying no names. Don't say me. I'm not saying no names. Do what you got to do, type of deal. And so none of them really give like a direct answer, except for Johnny Bananas, who's kind of because they mentioned. I think Devin mentions when you see 7 championships, you kind of intimidated. And so at that point he got it mentioned it, kind of like I got 7 championships, but let's talk about this game right here, the one we playing right now. And I have not been the best. I have not been number 1 every week. If you're looking for the number 1 every week, let's look at Fessy because he is big, he is strong, and he been winning. So I ain't trying to say no names, but Fessy. So yeah, Johnny basically tells that Fessy is your guy if you're trying to get somebody strong out.
I mean, their decisions was already made. Even in my head as a challenge, I already knew Fessy and Nelson. I mean, that was the only options, honestly, at this point in time. Like, one of them had to go. And it kind of was like, I feel bad for Nelson, but at the same time, I've been told you this, that he wasn't trying to win.
I wanted him to win.
We want him to win, but he's not trying to win. Devin and Jordan have a conversation.
Okay.
Where basically Jordan was like, let's think about it. Let's figure out who we want to put in there. And I think the best bet is Fessy and Nelson. And because basically Jordan want to see what Fessy can really do outside of a pole wrestle and a hall brawl.
Not a hall brawl.
What all we're saying. Give Fessy something. Give Fessy something where he doesn't have to be physical. And like Jordan said, the more we throw him in there, 9 times out of 10, eventually he will break and lose that.
Yeah, if you keep going in, you're gonna, even no matter how good you are, if you keep going in, you're gonna go home eventually.
Yeah. So that's kind of where he was at. And then Devin basically was like, yeah, we need to get both of them in there. That's our best chance. And then we have to do what we have to do to make that happen. Yeah. And then that's where we get Jordan and Fessy kind of making like this truce where they like, because Jordan has been big on integrity throughout his challenge career, and he was like, you did me a solid, the only solid Fessy did, I guess, this season, because the rest of them. Also, backtrack a little bit. When Amber was like, "You never said my name when you could have," I was like,
so he said, literally. I'm glad you mentioned it. Literally, when Amber said to Fessy in interrogation, "You haven't said my name when you could have said my name," I was like, "When?" Because every time I've seen, if he had the opportunity, he said it.
the night before, when you was in elimination, he literally said your name.
No one else said your name, except for well, he was the start of it.
So they make a truce, and basically Jordan was like, "You saved me, so I wouldn't go against you." And Fessy is just like, "Well, my game is good. Jordan's gonna protect me. Mariah's gonna protect me." The level of delusion that Fessy has in his head.
Conversation with Fessy, Tori comes up to Jordan, and while he's working out, and she basically says, "I protected you previously, and so I need you to help me out as well." And follow through with what our yeah, I protected you when it was your time, so I need you to help me out as well. And he's kind of like, whatever promises I have made, I'm gonna stick to those promises. And then she says, you whatever decision you make is gonna like affect our relationship, like the relationship that we have. That he says, like, again, kind of like, I'm play this game how I always played it, and I'm gonna stick to what I said I was gonna do. He says it again. And I feel two ways about this scenario. Like, I feel like you need to stick to what you say. I also feel like when Tori, when they hit her inventory for if they're talking about the thing I think they're talking about, when he was when it was the male's elimination turn, he was on the block. She fought to save him. Yeah, fought to save him and got everybody not to vote for him directly. But this is not the same scenario to me because she is not on the block. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be the same scenario if she was on the block and it was a girls' elimination, and then he would say, "Everybody, I don't want to put Tori in." That's the same scenario. But from what I see, you are asking me not to put Fessy in because he helps your team win, which is directly negatively affect my team.
I feel like Jordan was right to say that Tori doesn't know how to tell the difference between personal and the game, because I feel like for her to put their personal relationship in it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how would that directly affect her per se? Like,
it would affect her in the game. It would affect her in the game because,
but not really. She still has a strong team.
But Fessy is there.
She still has a strong team.
It will still affect her. I understand why it would affect her. No, I get what she's saying, but I just don't get her ability to ask him to
feel like
her.
Jordan's decision, regardless, Fessy was still going down there. Like, Jordan was a swing vote, not a guaranteed. There were still 4 other people on that team. So 4 out of 6 would have chose Fessy regardless, or even after 3 out of 4 or whatever, it would have still either been a tie or Fessy would have gone in. So whether Jordan made a decision or not, it wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, where I don't get what the whole point of her trying to bargain, like, it didn't make sense to me. Even if we go with the logic of Fessy affecting her game, still, she shouldn't have put their personal relationship in the equation. So if it could have just been like, if you do this, then okay, we just can't work with each other moving forward in the game, whatever. I can't look out for you, my hands are going to be, tied. But for her to say, if our relationship mean anything to you, you wouldn't do something to affect me this way. I don't.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, if I do anything, because it basically was, if I do something to affect if you do something to affect my team negatively, then that would our personal relationship will suffer. But
Yeah.
the name of the game is for me to affect your team negatively. I need for them to lose. But I feel like maybe the part we're missing is that maybe she's saying maybe they had a deal with Fessy previously, and it was like, Fessy, if you don't say Jordan's name, then I'm gonna make sure Jordan don't say your name. So I feel like maybe that's something that is what she's talking about. Maybe they had a deal, so that's why it's like, previously I had you make this deal for them not to say your name, and if you say his name after you promise not to say his name, then that hurts me because I promised everybody to save you, you wouldn't say his name. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand the logic.
There's honestly. Get to
Okay.
elimination, and basically TJ asked the $1 million question: who is everybody's going to vote for?
TJ
Jordan.
is super. TJ want to start with Jordan first, just so that it's as best as it can be. So let Jordan go first, just so it's not like a there's no hope situation. No, you started it off.
Producer was like, ask Jordan first, TJ.
Ask Jordan first, TJ. Don't back out.
So just like that, Jordan was like, for the past 7 seasons, I held my head up high. I stuck by my word. I didn't make deals that I couldn't stand by, even if it bit me in the back or in the butt. But one thing I would not do, looks to Tori, is make deals with terrorists. And I was like, okay, Jordan, drag her.
I had my mind made up. He said, basically, I had my mind made up, or an hour before it was time to vote, or before elimination. Someone came up to me, Tori, obviously. Someone came up to me and told me that, tried to leverage our personal relationship, and basically I don't get down like that. And so because of that,
tried to use our real life relationship as a hostage to sway his votes.
Yeah.
And so from that point, he was like, well, since they did that, I don't make deals with terrorists. Swings head at Tori. Tori looking like,
yeah, he's gonna go. Yes, he's like, so I'm gonna go the opposite of whatever that person's talking about. Even though I believe he would have did it anyway. This was just
I don't think he would have. He would have voted for Nelson. He would have voted for Nelson.
Okay.
I mean, the outcome didn't matter, but he would have had chosen Fessy. I should say that.
It was more votes for Nelson than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a established thing that they were going to say Fessy, but it was 3 to 3. Oh no, sorry, 3 to 2
to 1.
Yeah, 3 to 2, and then 3 to 2, and then it comes to Mariah, and she has she's told Fessy she'll never say his name, so she doesn't say Fessy, and she says Fessy told her to never say Nelson's name, but there's a asterisk, say his name.
but I feel like
no, I agree with what she did. No, I agree with what she did.
Say,
no, not just saying
like she did something wrong. I was like,
no. I agree with what she did. If it was another scenario, say Nelson's name if I'm up on the block.
Yeah.
but no. So she could tie it up, but she decides not to, and she says, does she say Chauncey?
Yeah, she said Chauncey.
Yeah, she says Chauncey. So is Fessy 3, Nelson 2, and Chauncey 1. So Fessy is going directly in. He has the most, and Fessy is upset. And he's like, if it comes down to your ride or die and somebody else, you do not burn vote. You need to make it a tie. But in this scenario, if we make it a tie, as we've seen in some challenges, if it's a tie, then the other people, you know what I mean? So, somebody
either her team could have been down there for elimination instead.
Yeah.
Even if they did a revote, it was like they could probably did a revote. Probably would have been like the first thing, and then it would have been like, okay, Nelson and Fessy, y'all are the two. Everybody has to choose between those two type of thing.
Or it could have been or it could have been like, since they could decide only Chauncey and Bananas are up for elimination or something.
Yeah.
You know
or I think they probably would have pitted tourists on the team. Could have possibly been. It was too many variables, so Mariah was smart not to make it a tie because it could have been somebody. Then it could have been the other team who has vote. and then their girls could have voted, okay, we'll do Nelson, da 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 da, or they could have switched it up since Chauncey has that one vote and been like Chauncey, Chauncey, Chauncey. That would have gave them 4 to Chauncey, and then their whole team would have been like, whatever the case may be. So it was too many variables. So Mariah was smart in that case.
And Johnny Bananas pulls first, and his is blank. And then next we get Chauncey. He pulls, and he gets to save Dagger, and Chauncey decides to save Bananas. Nelson is going directly in, so it's Nelson versus Fessy.
Part 2.
Part 2. And so for this elimination, I thought it was an interesting elimination. For this elimination, so
Fessy, Nelson didn't want to win.
I think he did. I think he just lost his momentum. But with this one, this elimination, so they have to first unravel the chains, right? All the chains, and then there are, was it 9 spears?
Yeah. Also, I don't think they had to unravel the chains first. I think they just had to. See, that's the thing I don't get about these eliminations when they don't explain all the rules. Because if I was them, I would have just loosened up some, start pulling it out. I would have went top first instead of side. But yeah.
Yeah, so they had 9 spears, and they had to pull the spears through the drywall and then place the spears in their in the sockets, placeholders. And once you get all the spears out, the time will stop, and that'll be the winner. And so when it first started, Fessy got 1, then Nelson got 1, Fessy got 2, then Nelson got 2. It was pretty neck and neck at first, but then around the third one mark, Nelson started to fall behind, and the way the editing was going, they had people still like, Nelson, come on, and it was Fessy had 7.
They felt the score. It was like 6-2. I was like,
yeah, and I was like, I mean, never give up, never surrender. but the editing was making it seem like anything can happen, and I was like, I don't know if anything can happen at this point.
It's pretty clear Fessy won by the third. By the fourth one to Nelson's 1, Fessy was. I was like, I don't think.
Yeah, I was like, but it gave me a little hope, because I was like, if the editing's still like making it seem like it's not over, then maybe it ain't over.
Yeah.
So Nelson is eliminated from the competition. I'm sad to see Nelson go. I really like Nelson, and I think this is the best he has ever done in the challenge to me.
Yeah. This is the best game he's played. I do think wholeheartedly that it was mainly due to Nurys being in the game. Like, she was the captain of that ship, and with her gone, you can really see that Nelson wasn't playing.
Go out back to back, though. I really am. So after Nelson is eliminated, we see them, he comes back onto the stand, as we've seen in previous episodes, and he says, as you know, you're tied to your ride or die, live or die by your ride or die, and want to tell you that Nurys was waiting for her chance to get back in the game, and so as long as you were in the game, Nurys was still in the game and could have possibly gotten back in. And so he's like, what? And so they bring Nurys out, but he says, but because you guys are both eliminated, this is the end of this is the end for real for both of y'all.
But yeah, I'm happy to see Nurys moving forward.
Yeah. So
and I also want Nelson to get his head straight and learn how to play this game, because I'm tired of
it. That you're tired of it.
I'm tired of him playing the game the way he's been playing. He's been making bad moves all season.
But that is the end of our review. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Turn on post notifications, and we will see you on our next video.